So today we're gonna make omurice. It's a very popular Japanese dish. It consists of fried rice, wrapped in a thin omelet, and then topped with the demi-glaze sauce. Now we made this once before on a YouTube short, and I tell you what, that omelet kicked my The temperature of the pan has to be correct. The consistency of the eggs has to be right. It's very difficult to do. There's a couple things I think we can improve upon. I hope I get this right. Let's get into it. Here we go. Before we start making this beautiful omurice, the first thing we need to do is get our rice cooking. So we're going to use a rice cooker and add 2 cups of jasmine rice. If you don't have jasmine rice, that's okay. Just use whatever rice you have laying around the house. Make sure you thoroughly rinse and wash your rice. You want to rinse off the excess starch or any dirt left behind from manufacturing. Once your rice is rinsed, we're going to add some chicken stock instead of water. Trust me, once you start using chicken stock instead of water in your rice, you'll never go back. Now I recommend you do this a day ahead of time because you want to use day-old rice, which fries better. Now let's move on to getting our mise en place together. We need to use 1 whole sweet onion, cut the ends off, cut it in half, peel it, and then we're going to cut it into 1-inch cubes. So what you want to do is cut into the onion into 3 sections long ways and 3 sections horizontally, and that'll get you roughly the 1-inch slices we're looking for. Place your onions in a large bowl and set it aside for the rest of your veg. Next, we're going to dice up 1 green bell pepper, cut the sides off the pepper, or as they say, cheeks of the pepper. This will allow you to easily remove the seeds. Julienne the pepper nice and thin. We're going to cut it into a small dice and then add it to the bowl with our onions. Lastly, for our veg, we're going to finely dice 1 carrot. You want to cut the ends off, cut it in half, slice it into very thin strips, and then dice it nice and fine. We want it to cook the same as our peppers and onions. You can choose whatever vegetables you want. I've seen people use mushrooms, edamame beans, onion. Whatever combination you want is up to you. Next, we're going to cut up some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We want to cut them into very small, bite-sized pieces. We want the pieces smaller than normal since we're going to form our rice into a rice dome for presentation. Next, let's move on to our sauce. In a medium-sized saucepan on medium heat, we're going to add 1 cup of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of chicken or beef stock, teaspoon of rice wine vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Stir all that together, reduce until thickened, and season with a little bit of salt. Reduce the heat to low and then keep warm until you're ready to use it. Now we're ready to move on to frying our rice. In a large pan on medium heat, add about 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil, add your chicken thighs, season with a little bit of salt and pepper, and cook till about halfway done. It should roughly take around 5 minutes to brown the chicken. Once the chicken is cooked halfway, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. You only need to cook it for about 1 minute or until fragrant. Next, add all the veg to the pan, cook until soft, and season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Once your vegetables are soft, but they still have some crunch, add 1.5 cups of your jasmine rice. Mix that all together, and then we're going to gently melt 3 tablespoons of butter into our rice. Once the butter is melted and mixed throughout, add 2 large spoonfuls of your sauce. You want to add just enough sauce to evenly coat the rice. Mix the sauce throughout the rice, and once it's smoking hot, you're ready to form it into a rice dome. Now you have a couple options here. You can either purchase a rice form, you can use a cup, or what I'm using here is a shallow bowl. Press the rice firmly into your mold, place in the center of the plate upside down, and then remove the mold, revealing a perfect rice dome. Now it's time to move on to the most difficult part of this, the omelet. Crack 3 eggs into a bowl and whisk until homogeneous. Now there's a few different techniques to make this omelet. We're going to attempt the tornado method or the spiral method, whatever you want to call it. In a small pan on medium-low heat, add a few tablespoons of oil, season your eggs with a little salt, and add them to the pan. Now I wasn't kidding, your timing has to be perfect. With this first omelet, I waited a little too long to pinch with the chopsticks. On the second attempt, I had the pan a little too hot and didn't add enough oil, so it stuck. I attempted this a few more times, and on the 4th try, I actually got it to spiral. Now, if you're going to attempt this, I recommend using a brand new non-stick pan. Once the omelet's about 80% cooked, you're going to drape it over your fried rice, clean up the plate a little bit, add a ladle of your sauce, some fresh parsley on top, and enjoy. So there you have it, that was our omurice. Our sauce was a little bitter, it was a little sweet. The sauce doesn't taste like much on its own. You really have to mix it all together to get the flavors to come through. You taste the sweetness, the bitterness, the savoriness. Now our omelet only took us 4 tries to get right. If you guys are having trouble with that omelet, it's okay. You can put some scrambled eggs on top, it'll be just as good. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give us a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.